So today I'm going to teach you how you can make a beautiful prop dynamic, like in this case that I made this helicopter for a Construct 2 map. And you can see right here on Hammer, it's a prop dynamic, and I downloaded it from sketchfam.com, which is a website where you can download thousands of free 3D models. And if you guys want me to do this for you, you can hire me on Fiverr and I will convert your models, whether they are prop static or prop dynamic. You want to make sure that your model has very little amount of vertices and triangles. You don't want to find a model or use a model, for example, that's going to have like 1,000,000 vertices or 1,000,000 triangles. That will tremendously negatively impact performance. In this case, this is perfect. It's only 2K. You can use one that's 20K, will be okay. You're going to download this, and I'm going to download FBX. Then you're going to open up Blender, press A and delete, and then you want to extract the zip file that you downloaded, the FBX, source FBX, you drag and drop it into Blender. Okay, so see texture, let's go into wireframe, viewport shading. If you remember on Sketchfab, the model is perfectly animated. But because this was probably made with Maya or who knows which 3D software, now when I'm on the timeline right here, when I hit play, I don't see the proper animation. You see that? That's normal. Don't worry about that. We're gonna delete those animations, so just expand, delete those animations. Simply unlink. So now there's no animation whatsoever. One way to animate is using keyframes, but that's not gonna work with the Source 2 engine. You need to create an armature and bones. Select the chopper, go into edit mode, and I'm going to delete those faces. The reason to delete this is, for simplicity's sake, in this tutorial, I'm not gonna focus on to teach you how to bake textures. If you wanna learn how to do that, how to get the chopper with the glass, you should watch one of my other tutorials where I teach you how to bake. So now I'm gonna delete the glass material, and okay, the chopper now is looking good. This is the way I want it to look. Fortunately for us, this model right here is already divided, so there's the helix, the tail, and the body. But let's say that everything was one object. I'm gonna merge it together, so it's just one object. I press G to move, it's just one object, you see? So one object, one texture. So to separate these, you're gonna lock in one axis, enable X-ray selection. You're gonna go into edit mode, and you wanna drag across the helix to fully select, and then press P to separate the selection. So now if I go back to object mode, there's the body and there's the helix. Okay, this is what you should do, but I'm gonna quickly undo all of this back to the way it was. That was just to show you in case you need to separate different parts. Okay, so everything is separate, but there's a few problems. When I select the tail, if I hit R to rotate, it's rotating along this pivot. Go to object, set origin to geometry. And you see now that the pivot has moved to the center of the geometry. So now if I press R to rotate, now it's rotating or moving the way I want it to move. And now I'm gonna do the same thing with the helix, object, set origin to geometry. Now it goes into the center. So with the tail selected, I'm gonna press Shift S, cursor to selected. So now the 3D cursors moved here. Shift A, armature. I'm gonna disable X-ray for now. G to move, and then Z to local along the Z axis. Really like this. Okay, so that gets right in the center. So now I'm gonna go into edit mode. With the tip selected of the armature, I'm gonna press E to extrude, and I'm gonna lock on the X axis to extrude it in this direction. And then I'm gonna extrude again, press E, and now I'm gonna extrude on the Y axis like this, and E again, and extrude again on the Y axis. Then I want to select this part, and I'm gonna E to extrude, and on the Y axis I drag it. Rather, I'm gonna have to hide the chopper, so object mode, select the body, press H, edit mode again, select it, and bring it right down to the center. This is important. And I'm gonna repeat the same thing, press E and lock on the Z axis and drag it up like that. And then press E again, and let's drag another bone on the Z axis and another one. With the Source 2 engine, it's important that you drag it like this 2 times. Otherwise, it might not work. Back into object mode, Alt H to unhide, and let me disable X-ray now. But also need to create an armature for the body. So edit mode again, select this part, E, and drag it down, and then again drag it on the Z axis. I want to do it like this so that the body will be locked onto this part. So now that I've done this, it's time to animate. Let me go now into pose mode. This is the one that I want to move. Press N to open up this menu and change the rotation type from quaternion to XYZ, which is selected. Here, go to the very first frame on the timeline. You're gonna press I to add a keyframe. Then I'm gonna go, say, 10 keyframes. It's on the Z axis, you see? So I'm gonna give it 360 degrees. and insert keyframe. From keyframe 1, it will rotate all around. I'm gonna drag this keyframe just to show you something. Let's play again. This is not the way a helix will move on an helicopter. This is in and is out. So to fix this, you're gonna go into the graph editor, press A to select everything, right click, interpolation, make it linear. Back into the timeline, play again, and there you go. Now the helix is moving the way it should. I want it to be 10 milliseconds, not 30. Okay, so on the tail, change the rotation type again, and then to the very end, and at the very beginning, and the same problem. I need to ease in, ease out. So graph editor, press A, interpolation, linear. And so now let's look at our chopper. There you go. The next thing is to parent the bodies, the different parts of the helicopter, to this armature. So back into object mode, select the helix, Alt P, clear parent and keep transformation. And now shift click on the armature, Control P, with automatic weights. So now if I play the animation, the helix is not rotating the proper way. So on the helix, we have all these bones, and I only need one because this is just something that's going to rotate. So you're going to delete some of these bones, see that? And it begins to change the way it works. But I deleted some of the bones that was controlling rotation, so I'm going to undo that. Bone number 6, it is the one that I want to keep. So I'm going to delete the other bones. Now you see that parts of the helicopter, the helix is not rotating. So you're going to go into weight paint. So what you want to do is you want to paint it so that it all has the same color. And I want to do the same thing with the tail of the helicopter. Select the helix, Alt P, clear parent, and select the armature, Control P with automatic weights. And now you see that it is rotating. Just select it and you're going to delete some of the bones. Keep it spinning. Delete, delete. Okay. That is looking nice. Let me keep deleting. Okay, I deleted that one. Is bone number 2 now. I should keep that one, so delete the other ones. You just go into weight paint and you make sure to paint it the same color basically. So now here's our helicopter, and the same thing with the chopper, Alt P, clear parent, and then parent it with automatic weights. I don't want the body to have any movement, so I'm gonna delete all the bones and leave only one and make sure that the cabin doesn't have any weird movements. Go into your add-on. You're gonna create a materials and a models folder. So in materials, you're simply gonna save the texture, go to the UV editor, find the texture right there, image, save as, and then you're gonna place that as a JPEG. You're gonna go into non-linear animation, and here you see armature action. You're gonna push it down with this button. So now it's ready. Select everything with A, File, Export, FBX. Inside that folder, models, you're gonna save it as mesh. Select visible objects and animation. And then only select the armature, File, Export, FBX. And you're gonna save it as helicopter anim. No visible objects, just selected objects, export FBX. So now let's go into the asset browser, model editor, new model, and you're gonna select animated model, prop dynamic, add meshes, mesh, and then I wanna add simple animations, the anim, and I wanna compile. Save it. We just need to create a material. Save it inside of materials, and you open up, select all images, materials, and select that texture, and save it again. So now we're gonna add a material, default material group, and exactly that helicopter material I just created. Accept and compile. And so there is our model. Now let's hit play, and there you go. Look at this. It's really beautiful. Thank you so very much for watching, and good luck with your model conversion. See you next time.